I'll be using this data set to conduct an independent t-test. My question is there a difference between students who were active for at least 60 minutes or not the previous day in terms of the number of days they bring their own lunch to school from home. The variables are question 8, and that is the active or not. And it is asked, yesterday, were you physically active for a total of at least 60 minutes? The answers could have been yes or no, 1 and 2, and it's important to have that knowledge for the test that we have to conduct. And then we scroll down to 98, which is the number of days we bring on lunch. And this, as you can see here, is asked in this manner. In an average week, when you are in school, on how many days do you bring your own lunch to school from home? And that is measured from 0 to 5 days, but it is coded from 1 to 6, and that is important to keep in mind as well. This is a ratio variable because it has a true 0. You could have eaten from school or eaten from off campus every single day of the week. And then the other variable, question 8, is a nominal variable because yes or no just puts you in one group or the other. And these are unrelated groups, so this is why we can conduct an independent t-test. If we had more groups, say they divided it into at least 60, at least 30, or 0, or however they divided the groups, we might be able to put this into one-way ANOVA, but here with only 2 groups, we are able to do an independent t-test. So first you go to Analyze, Compare Means, Independent Samples t-test. And what we're going to do, our dependent variable will go independent variable will go down here, and we'll define groups in a second. And our dependent variable, find question 8. And so in an average week, and that's how many days brings the lunch, and then we define our groups, and we do that knowing that 1 is yes and 2 is no. And we're good on that. And so after we do that, we are good to press OK. And sometimes SPSS takes a little while to get the output. And here it is. So we can look at the group statistics first, and that this tells us that the mean for those who participated was slightly greater than the mean for those, or the mean for those who were physically active for a total of at least 60 minutes is a little greater than those who were not active for at least 60 minutes, only by about a difference of 0.2, and that's how many days they would bring their lunch to school. And we can see standard deviation, and so the top actually has a greater standard deviation, but a smaller standard error. And now we can look down here in our independent samples test. So what we first do is look at the Levene's test, and if it is 0.000, it is less than 0.05. We're going to look on the bottom. If it were greater than 0.05, we would look on the top row. But this shows us equal variance is assumed and equal variance is not assumed. If the significance or the p-value is greater than our significance level, then we would go towards our equal variance is not assumed. That's this bottom level. But it is significant. You look at your t-test, it is 2.725, and your significance test, your p-value is 0.006, which is less than 0.05, so it is significant. And our mean difference here is 0.097. Our standard error difference is 0.036, and our 95% confidence interval of the difference is shown here, our upper and lower ranges. And we can safely say from this finding, in finding that it is significant, that there are differences between those who are physically active for at least 60 minutes and those who are not, in terms of the number of days they bring their own lunch to school. Those who are physically active for at least 60 days for 60 minutes on the previous day tend to bring their lunch to school from home more days than those who aren't physically active for 60 minutes. And that is how we conduct an independent samples t-test.